With Amex Platinum, you get priority notified with global dining access by Resi, so you can get first dibs if a spot opens up at restaurants. And compliments to the chef turns into compliments to your Platinum card. That's the powerful backing of American Express. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/withAmex.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to Peak Northwest, an outdoors and travel podcast by the Oregonian and Oregon Live, dedicated to the adventure and the exploration of our beautiful Pacific Northwest. I'm Jamie Hale.
And I'm Vicki Connor. Together, we take you to some of the most beautiful and interesting destinations in our region, discussing where to go, what to do, and places to see. And today, we are headed out to two of the most notable areas in Oregon. Of course, Mount Hood and the Columbia River Gorge.
That's right, Vicki. You know, we've talked about these areas a lot in the podcast before, but we're talking about them today because Lonely Planet, which is an international travel guide, released its 2025 Best in Travel Guide that highlights some of the best places to see around the world. And in that, it featured the Mount Hood and the Columbia River Gorge jointly as one of the 10 best regions in the world to visit. Now, this isn't just like, you know, casinos.com's best. Like Lonely Planet has some heft. They do have some, it's legitimate. So, you know, this is a pretty cool thing. There were not very many places in the US that made this list of 30 places to see. So getting on there is a pretty cool deal. And it sort of shows that the Mount Hood and the Gorge area has a certain cachet right now and could draw some more international travel.
Yeah, I feel like this is pretty cool. What other places were they talking about on this list?
So, I mean, obviously there's a lot of beautiful places in the world, and we're talking about like, you know, Switzerland, we're talking about Nepal, we're talking about the Jordan Trail, all these beautiful, beautiful places around the entire planet. And our little corner of it got mentioned in there. So it was only one of 3 US destinations that made this list of 30. One of the cities in the city, like the best cities category, Pittsburgh snuck in there. Good for Pittsburgh. And in this same regions category, the low country and coastal area of Georgia, the state, not the country, was mentioned in there as well. So Georgia, Pittsburgh, Pacific Northwest. We've made it.
Oh my gosh. So did they go into just some of the main highlights? Do you think they gave it justice? Obviously they're raving about it, so hopefully they did.
Here's what Lonely Planet said about it. And I'll quote what they said in their news release. They said, with diverse terrain perfect for skiers, hikers, and snowboarders, sprawling orchards, and rich indigenous traditions and heritage, this region has everything you need to stand in awe at nature's gifts. From tasting natural wines at Hayu Wine Farms, experiencing the stunning views around Multnomah Falls, to windsurfing in Hood River, Mount Hood and the Columbia River Gorge is the perfect place for adventure seekers and wine lovers alike. So we're talking skiing, we're talking wine drinking, some waterfalls. Shout out to the indigenous culture and heritage here. That seems to be what their focus is.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we know a little bit more about this area, don't we?
Yes, we do.
So if you're someone who wants to check this area out, or maybe you have family in town, you know, it's Thanksgiving time, and you're talking about like, hey, come on out and let's go on a trip. Or, hey, we're here for like a week. Let's go see some stuff. This is, as Lonely Planet recognized, a really good place to do it. Well, let's start with just mentioning that, like, for those who don't know the geography of the area that well, you can do the Columbia River Gorge and Mount Hood on a scenic loop drive.
Yes.
From Portland. It's a great drive that you can do it in a day. It's not that long. You can drive from Portland down to the gorge to Hood River, circle back up, even go up to Timberline if you want, and come back and go back to Portland in a day. I've done it before with some guests, and it's a really, really nice way to see a lot of scenery in one go. On that loop, there are a couple of places where you can anchor your trip. So, I mean, when I'm thinking about doing something like this, a big trip, my first thought is, where am I going to stay? Where are my overnights? And in my opinion, I think the best places to stay on this loop are somewhere in Hood River and then Timberline Lodge. And if you do that, you can get a lot of stuff in there.
I actually have not stayed in Hood River. I'm always doing day trips, driving through, but actually haven't had a trip with any lodging there.
It's so close to Portland. For those of us who live here, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I stayed there for a wedding once. I stayed at a hotel downtown. It was really nice. It was a great time staying the night there. I've also never stayed the night at Timberline Lodge. I've been up there so many times. I've never stayed the night, and it's something that I've kind of always wanted to try.
Yeah, that our old co-host Jim Ryan has like raved about staying at Timberline for special occasion or whatnot.
Oh yeah. So let's kind of get into these two categories. So we've got the gorge, we've got Mountain Hood. Let's go ahead and start. If we're, you can do this loop either way if you want. Let's just go ahead and say we're going to go along the Columbia River and start in the gorge, hitting some of these big things in there. Obviously, we're not going to touch on everything, but I think the first thing people think about in the gorge, waterfalls.
Yep.
There's a lot of them.
If you're visiting the area, you best be seeing a waterfall. You haven't actually been to Oregon.
Yeah. Look up the waterfall corridor. We've done an episode about the waterfall corridor before. Multnomah Falls, obviously the tallest waterfall in Oregon, it's a must see, but there's so many waterfalls on that course. Horsetail Falls, and what else do we have in there, Vicky? Wakena Falls.
Yeah. Just that
Bridal
kind
Veil.
of general area. My favorite, like if you are just in that area at all, Eagle Creek, you got to go, hike. Even just 3 miles round trip, you're going to see some incredible waterfalls. But then also ones that you don't even have to hike to. You can walk right up and easy. Boom, you're there. You're going to see something really magical.
That's a full day doing waterfalls if you want. You can really take your time doing that. So definitely at least see a couple. But, if you see just one, I guess it's Multnomah Falls. It's pretty spectacular. It's worth the hike. So Vicky, you mentioned hikes. Obviously, there's hikes in the gorge.
So many great ones, and they're all so close to Portland.
So you mentioned Eagle Creek. What are some of your other favorite hikes in the gorge?
I do love Angel's Rest. You get an incredible view down of the gorge. I mentioned Eagle Creek because I will hike that 100 times and still never get sick of it. As you're walking through, just, moss-covered rock, beautiful waterfalls. You can walk behind a waterfall at Tunnel Falls, and it's extraordinary. I had not seen anything like it.
And it changes all the time. I go in different seasons, and it looks totally different.
Yeah. And it's a little scary, too. So...
Waklela Falls is a great hike if you want to do a hike to a waterfall. It's a really pretty hike. It's pretty easy. On the other side of things, you can if you're like someone who's like out to like climb, say like you want to climb Mount Hood on this trip or someday, Mount Defiance, it's a pretty good training run for doing that kind of climbing. So there's some steep hikes in the gorge.
Yeah. Yep. Gotta mention Cascade Locks as well.
Yeah. Could be a place to stay, but really good spot to stop in on your way through. There's obviously the Brigham Fish Market. It's really good. There's some great restaurants in town.
Eastwind Drive-In.
Get yourself a big ice cream cone. Bridge of the Gods is there. It looks nice, but you can drive over it. And we should say the whole Washington side of the gorge. This is sort of like an Oregon focused thing because Mount Hood is there, but like you have so many other options on the Washington side as well. If you have the time and capability, you can go to, we don't even mention them. It's going to be too much, but all the stuff over there. All
right. Well, Hood River, as we mentioned, I haven't spent, a full weekend there. It's always like I'm driving through, but whenever I am in Hood River, there's great food, great shopping, cute downtown area in general. I love the vibes of Hood River. Watch some windsurfing. It's such a fun time.
You can do some windsurfing. I once took a windsurfing lesson in Hood River. Yeah, I didn't fall off, and that was I felt good about that.
That's incredible. Pat yourself on the back.
It was, yeah. I mean, really, like everyone else had fallen multiple times. I was like determined not to fall in. So I didn't like do great, but I just didn't fall in. So that's what counts. All kinds of good stuff there. I mean, if we're talking, food, my go-to is Solstice Pizza. I think it's some of the best pizza in Hood River. You can get some like fresh fruit on your pizza, which is really nice. Obviously, the breweries are what Hood River is sort of known for. So Freedom and Double Mountain. I mean, there's like just all kinds of good beer there in town. Full Sail, obviously, the old standby.
Mhm.
So if you're into beer or wine, a lot of places to go. Cathedral Ridge is the winery I wanted to mention. That's one of my favorites. It's beautiful, really good wine. Just a great spot to spend a day too.
Yeah. And if you are looking to really pack it in on this trip, you got to hit up the Fruit Loop.
Oh,
Right?
oh, yeah.
I guess it's technically in Hood River, or
It's like,
uh,
yeah, it's on, it may be on the outskirts, but like it's there. It's the Hood River Fruit Loop.
yes. So more rural area, and just countless stops where you can, depending on the season, pick some apples or other types of fruit, enjoy a winery, cidery, and also bakeries, just more pizza, whatever you
More
want.
pizza. The pear pizza I had on the Fruit Loop was one of the best pizzas I've ever had.
Yeah, it was
So good.
ridiculously good.
Oh my God. So Hood River, obviously, I mean, you could spend your whole trip there and hang out, but on this trip, we're moving on. We're going south from Hood River, up the mountain, and we're going to go all the way around to Timberline. So as we're kind of making our way to Timberline Lodge, there are some spots to go check out. Tamanawas Falls is, I think, one of the better hikes in the area.
Yeah.
It's sort of the biggest main waterfall coming off of Mount Hood on that side. Really beautiful fall. Pretty easy hike to get there. It gets a little rocky at the end,
Mhm.
but otherwise it's a pretty easy hike. And just a really, really nice spot pretty much year round.
Yeah, about 4-ish miles round trip, I believe.
Sounds right.
Yeah, love that one.
Obviously, if it's the summertime, you've got, I mean, so many hikes on Mount Hood. My God. The Timberline Trail that goes, circumnavigates the peak is incredible. That's how many miles is that, Vicky? Is that 30 or 40
That is a
miles?
lot of mile.
Yeah, that's a full trip in and of itself. But there's pieces of it you can get to.
Exactly. And then, of course, got the Salmon River Trail.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. McNeil Point, that one, I want to say is closer to like 10 miles round trip, and a little bit of a burner there. But incredible, incredible view of Mount Hood almost the entire time. Love it.
So good. Cooper Spur, another classic trail on the east side of Mount Hood. I mean, there's just so many. I mean, there's like, we could just list and list and list and list hikes. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you're out to hike, this is your spot.
Yeah. And of course, if you are a snow sport aficionado, got to go to Timberline, Meadows, Ski Bowl. And even if you're not great at it like me, you're still learning how to do it. My goal this winter is to get out there to at least one of those destinations and take another ski lesson or snowboard lesson. Who knows?
There you go. Yeah. I mean, this is the skiing. They mentioned it in the Lonely Planet review. Obviously, a lot of great skiing up there on the mountain. Even Cooper Spur is sort of a higher elevation, smaller level ski area, and Summit, which is like right off the highway. That's like a good sort of beginners, family friendly, small slope ski area. So there's like levels to be had there on Mount Hood, and you can do all kinds of stuff. Obviously, you can climb the mountain, not casually, like you need to have some training and stuff. But if you're someone who's experienced at doing that, and maybe you have like a group you're going with or something, you can scale the mountain if that's your thing. A lot of ways to get up there and explore the slopes of Mount Hood.
Yeah. It would not be Peak Northwest podcast if we did not mention the food options while you're in this area.
Yeah.
So got to start off with Skyway, which is
Skyway
in Zigzag, I believe.
Yeah, it's in that area coming down off the mountain. So if you go to Timberline and you're coming back around towards Portland, Skyway is going to be there on your right. They do barbecue is kind of their main thing. Really good though. They've got like, obviously good meat, but they have like some good vegetarian barbecue options as well. Really cozy inside. There's like a fireplace. Get you like a hot drink, get some barbecue. It's like nice and warming, I think, on a cold day.
Yeah, this in my head is the perfect spot to stop after being out in the snow all day and get some mac and cheese or some like hot chocolate, defrost. This is where you need to go.
Exactly. As you keep coming down off the mountain, there's, Zigzag Inn is sort of a well-known spot. It's kind of like an old, I think it was an old brothel. They turned it into a restaurant. It's, got the log cabin vibes. You can get like, your fish and chips or your burger, some basics there. And the spot that we mentioned in an episode recently that I have not been to that I would love to check out is Naan and Curry. Just an Indian restaurant there right in kind of Welch's area. Very bright, very warming, very welcoming. It seems like it's just a nice spot. So lots of options down there as you're coming off the mountain.
Yes. Of course, if you're exploring Hood River and Mount Hood, obviously we're going to vouch for you to stay a few nights in Portland as well.
You must.
Go explore downtown, go explore all the cool shops on Hawthorne. This could be a whole episode of itself, but
yeah, go to the Japanese garden, climb Mount Tabor. Eat is the thing. This is what we do here.
Yes.
This is our culture. We eat. We go to restaurants. We go on hikes. That's our thing. So obviously, you can check out any number of good restaurant guides. Oregonian has done them and continues to do them. We love our pizza. We love our, creative fusion cuisines. We love our ice cream. There's just so much to eat here. We can't get into it all.
Do a whole freaking coffee shop tour.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's the way to do it. So with all that said, I don't know, Vicky, what would you recommend an itinerary to look like for somebody trying to hit this Mount Hood Gorge region?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I will say if you're trying to do all the things we just mentioned, I need you to be here for at least a week,
Oh, at least.
But I would say one day in Hood River, 1 or 2 days on Mount Hood, and then 3 days in Portland. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. But I also just really love Portland.
Yeah, I feel like, generously 8 nights, right? 2 nights in Portland, 2 nights in Hood River, 2 nights on Timberline, 2 nights in Portland again. And then just whittle it down from there, depending on your interests. If it's ski season and you're not into skiing, 1 night at Timberline is fine. There's not a lot you can get up to otherwise. If you're like, I got to hit all those waterfalls, make sure you spend some good time in the gorge side of things. And if you're like, I'm not that interested in food, I don't want to go to Portland, I want to just fly in and out. Okay, a night on either side, you can go from there. But so I'd say like eight nights is a good place to start on this itinerary.
Definitely.
So give yourself time though. I think like everywhere else, doing this in like 2 nights, it's crazy. Don't do that.
Also, expecting to get through everything in that amount of time. We can have goals, but man, there's just so much to see that you can't pack it all in, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want more detailed guides, I mean, look, we've talked about this so much on the pod before. Yeah. You can get into our archives and find episodes on the Waterfall Corridor, episodes on Cascade Locks, on the Fruit Loop. I mean, we just talked about Timberline and that whole area on a recent episode, and how we need more soaking pools and saunas on Mount Hood. Not to get on that soapbox again, but we do. We really do.
Yeah.
So I am curious though. I mean, I'm seeing this on Lonely Planet. I wonder if we're going to get more, international tourism as sort of people start to get back more into that. And if so, maybe we'll get some more stuff there on Government Camp. Maybe we will get the the sauna of our dreams.
All the wishful thinking from you, Jamie.
And maybe in like 10 years, we'll see something there. But even without that, it's a great spot to go and check out. Obviously, we love to do day trips up to these areas all the time from Portland. So what a treat to get to spend some more time and really appreciate it.
Yep. The biggest issue is just deciding where to go. And this
That's
is what
right.
I have, every time friends come and visit, I'm trying to, tailor all the possibilities into what they might like. And it's fun to do.
It's fun. And you know what? Hey, if you're someone who's dying to do this and you need some tips, reach out. We'll help you out. But we have a bunch of ideas here. I think it's a great place to start. Tell your family, tell your friends, come out to the Northwest and see some cool stuff.
Yes.
Folks, that will do it for us for today. Until next time, you can watch our videos on the Oregonians YouTube channel and view all of our travel and outdoors coverage on OregonLive.com/travel, as well as HereIsOregon.com.
Please leave us a rating or review if you enjoy the show. And if you want to support this podcast as well as our local journalism, please consider a subscription to Oregon Live. You can find details at OregonLive.com/pod support. Also, if you're a fan of the show and you're interested in potentially sponsoring it, you can get in touch with our marketing people at advertise@Oregonian.com. This episode of the show was produced by me, Vicki Connor, alongside Jamie Hale.
Stay safe and happy travels, everyone. Until next time, we leave you with this 10 seconds of Zen.